It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Keatsman. In on a holiday party kind of Tuesday, where myself and Mark Van Sickle may wear shorts and Hawaiian shirts to the party tonight, as it's so warm in Kansas City today. We can wear whatever we want to the Cumulus Media holiday party. Mark's going to be a little bit late. I'm going to be a couple minutes late, but we'll be there. It'll be a nice event. We always look forward to events like that. So we've got a little bounce in our step here around the radio station today on a day where I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't know that I can actually get to everything this hour. I try really hard. I used to do 4 hours a day like Pete does, and I've described this show. My goal when I started this show, this 1 hour show, was can you put your 4 hours worth of stuff into 1 hour? And if you can, it's going to be a pretty good hour. I don't think I can get it all in today, but we're going to try. The little known thing about this business is there are days when you're dying for content. You're just looking for something like, oh, what out there's compelling? What's interesting? I got 4 or 5 stories here today that could lead any radio show the entire week, for sure. So we're getting into all that. They include absolute ridiculousness in Australia and Rhode Island around the investigations surrounding the terror attacks that we saw in both those places that are clearly, both of them, anti-Semitic, anti-Jew. So it's not even debatable. We have a great story out of St. Joseph, economic impact. Do you know how many sporting events they've had in St. Joe the last few months? Not all of them huge. They had the high school state championships and things like that. Wait till you hear the amount of money it did for their economy over the last couple of months. We have, the city of Leawood, shocker of all shockers. Not that you ever heard that on this show, that Leawood wasn't going to like the Royals coming to 119th and Null. I think the mayor putting a statement out is the mayor thinks they're going there. I got to try to stop this. If the mayor and the council are doing this in Leawood, they're trying to stop it at this point. This is desperation. I think it's another arrow pointing at the Royals moving to Kansas. I really do. We'll get into the details on that. And we may have time to tell you how much money Philip Rivers is saving with his 10 children in health insurance costs by rejoining the NFL. Now, he's a multimillionaire, but it's still a staggering amount. A simple rule of hosting a show. Whenever possible, start the show with what everybody is talking about. And what everybody is talking about is Patrick Mahomes' knee. So what happened since the game on Sunday has been classic Chiefs. They said, Andy Reid went out there and said, it's just the ACL. There's nothing else. It's going to be a quick recovery. Everything's fine. And he's just going to Dallas for a second opinion. Well, the reason he went to Dallas was to do an emergency LCL surgery. So Patrick Mahomes got the double whammy. This is not good. It's the ACL and the LCL. The ACL, many times, like Micah Parsons on Sunday, is waiting for his procedure. Sometimes the inflammation goes down. You may wait a few days, and then you do it. The LCL must be operated on as quickly as you can. So he went to see Dr. Dan Cooper in Dallas, who's probably the most renowned LCL emergency surgeon there is, and did a late in the afternoon / early evening surgery that apparently went very well. Now, none of this means the end result is horrible on this knee surgery. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying it's worse than we thought. It's worse than they told you. It's worse than they wanted you to believe, like they were going to keep this secret. It was never going to stay secret. Everybody in the industry knew immediately when Mahomes was having a surgery by Dr. Dan Cooper that it was an LCL. They didn't have to confirm that. That's what this man is known for. You go there because of the LCL. There's plenty of choices for the ACL, and Cooper does them both. He did the whole thing. He did the ACL and the LCL, but the LCL is a different deal. I can't explain to you why you immediately want to operate on the LCL, and it's okay to wait on the ACL. I don't know that answer. I just know that I've been covering this stuff for a long time, and that's exactly the way this works. So when he got on the plane, and we try to believe the Chiefs, right? If they say, second opinion, Andy confirmed, it's just the ACL. We found nothing else here. That doesn't sound right. I think they found the LCL, and he got on a plane and went down there to have the surgery. It doesn't matter, I guess, at this point, but I don't understand it. It's the same thing that Pete was talking about last hour with Susie Wiles talking to Vanity Fair and the Trump administration, or Trump posting yesterday about Rob Reiner's death. Why force trouble. Why bring it upon yourself when it's not there? Don't say anything. The Chiefs used to be really good at saying nothing, but now they've got this little tactic where it looks like they're trying to lead you down a different road, and I don't really understand any of it, but they did this. And the complicated part here comes from Tom Brady, who was on a podcast yesterday, and I want you to think about one of the themes of this show last summer, the Chiefs quarterback out of shape, overweight, coming into camp, saying he just worked every single day this offseason. He's going to be ready. It's going to be great. We're all recommitted, man. We were embarrassed by that Eagles game. We are really going to be focused this year. We can say with certainty this team was not focused. It did not do everything it possibly could to be the best it could. Period. That's easy to say. You can see that in the results. You can see it in the play to play. That's the coaching staff. That's all the players. That includes Patrick Mahomes. It's everybody. And I'm not really even insulting because I understand you can get fat and happy in life. You can get spoiled. You win 3 Super Bowls. It's easy, whatever. I got hundreds of millions of dollars. I get it with some of these guys. I get it. But we saw it play out. The first thing we get from Mahomes after the surgery is thank you for your prayers. Everything went well. And I'm going to attack this thing every day. Well, listen to this from Tom Brady on how difficult this is going to be for Patrick Mahomes. Brady said yesterday, talking about specifically Mahomes, the only thing you can do is focus on what's ahead of you and not look back and just say, okay, this is part of where my career is going to be. And a lot of people have gone through it, and a lot of people have overcome it. You've just got to put as much diligence into the rehab process. I always feel like the faster you rehab, the faster you get back to practicing the sport you know you love. I think sometimes people will pace themselves. Instead of training mode, they're in rehab mode for too long. I think you got to get through rehab mode as fast as possible, and then you get back to training mode. But that requires an all-out commitment, and it's the same commitment that the great professional athletes make to be great at their profession. When you go through the rehab process, you need to get that same level of focus and determination. It is a tough rehab, Brady said. It's one of the toughest of all rehabs. I just remember every day pushing myself, and it's always the same amount of pain and discomfort every day, except you're making progress through that pain and discomfort and don't really know it. It's hard psychologically. It's a tough thing to battle. You feel like, God, every day it just doesn't feel right, except you're gaining range of motion and you're gaining strength and you're on the road to recovery. So I wish Patrick the very best. And I believe that's true. But I don't think I've ever met an athlete that went through this that didn't say at the end of it, wow, I didn't know what I was about to happen. They've talked to other players. They've heard it. Brady can say it. Patrick Mahomes hasn't been through it. One of the natural human instincts through all of this is to feel sorry for yourself. Now, we got to stop thinking in this country about people with money or fame or success or whatever, that they're some sort of superhuman that don't have problems. Everybody has problems in their lives. Everybody has problems in their lives. I don't know what's going on in his mind right now. I think he's probably thinking a little bit about, boy, this is going to be a tough several months. It's going to be a long grind. My off season is shot. We're not taking the beach vacation to Cabo for 2 weeks. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. I think he knows that. But until it hits you and what Brady described as the pain that you feel every day and the aggravation that it's not getting any better because it still hurts every single day, we don't know. I lost track through the years of the number of athletes that were some of the most confident men and women I've ever met that had injuries like this. And after it was over, they said, when I got a third of the way through the thing, I just wanted to quit. I was so down. It was psychologically the toughest thing of my life. I was like, I'm never coming back. These are people with tremendous athletic ability that's taken away from them for 9 months. And they say, not only are you not superhuman, you see that 87-year-old lady over there at Walmart pushing that buggy? She's getting around better than you. And it crushes your soul. This is a hard thing for an athlete. So it is awesome that everybody in Kansas City is well-wishing. If you want to say a prayer, whatever it may be. I know that there's a lot of regular folks listening right now that have had ACLs, and they've been through it. But your road to recovery is to be able to walk back and forth to the car, maybe walk your dog, live your life, whatever it may be. This is different with athletes. Everything that they've been about their entire life is on the line. It's terrifying. know this. Maybe for the first time in his professional career, Patrick Mahomes is likely scared. He probably won't say it, but he's got to be a little scared. What's this going to be like? What is it like afterwards? Even if this is perfect, what am I? Every single player I've ever talked to said, it takes a season for me to trust my knee again. That you come back that first year, you play, but you never really trust it. You think about it every single week and before every single game. Is it going to happen again? Is it going to happen to my right knee? You don't trust anything when you come back. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, and it was disappointing to hear that it's the LCL too. So this is more than we thought, and I just, more than anything, I'm trying to do this out of like compassion, and for anyone that is a Chiefs fan and anyone that thinks Patrick Mahomes is superhuman, let him be human. This won't be easy. Let's lower the bar. Okay, let's really lower the bar for Patrick Mahomes in next year. Let's assume he does make it back, even maybe by opening day. I doubt it now that it's the LCL. He's probably going to miss a few games, but let's just lower the bar next year. Let's not ramp up the Super Bowl talk. Let's let the Chiefs rebuild their team, because I think this is the perfect time to rebuild that roster. You're not likely to have an MVP caliber Mahomes off the injury. Quarterbacks just aren't very confident in their knee after they come back. This is the perfect time to retool. And as awful as this sounds, we really ought to be targeting September of 27 and saying, what does the roster look like then? What kind of help can they get him? What kind of weapons does he have? Do we have a running back? Is there an offensive line? What does that look like? Is Andy Reid in that future? These are all really big questions. It's the first time in a decade that we've ever looked at anything at the end of the year other than, oh, okay, well, they're going to have spring practice here coming up. It's going to be great. They're going to be in the Super Bowl again next year. That is not likely. In fact, it's extremely unlikely at this point. But I'm glad to hear that it went well. It's not great that he got the LCL as well. And everybody in this town wishes Patrick Mahomes the best. He is, and will, no matter what happens. If he never played again, he's the greatest athlete in Kansas City history. That's it. End of story. You could close the book right now, and he's numero uno. He is the man in this town. Everybody knows it. He has earned that. Right now, I hope he remains very private about all this, keeps a positive attitude, doesn't have any doubt, and knows that he's got a really, really, really hard offseason ahead of him. This will be the hardest offseason of his career. No, it's not even close. This will be the hardest thing he's ever done, and we're glad the surgery went well. 913-408-7957 is the number to call if you want to talk about that or any of these others. I got a million stories today, so we're going to get right after it. If you'd like to call in the show, I'd talk with you next, or next topic up on KCMO. It's infuriating to watch authorities handle these two cases in particular that we have going at the same time, and I'm not talking about the Rob Reiner one that Nick Reiner's due in court today, and I think it's been handled about as well as it can be handled by authorities there. But the Brown University thing in Rhode Island, they're keeping something from us. They're keeping a lot from us in this thing. You can tell. This is easy. I can sniff these things out in a news conference in a heartbeat after all these years. I can't tell you exactly that I know what it is, but I can tell when people are holding something from you and keeping it from you, and we could see that in Rhode Island. It's even worse in Australia. Full disclosure, I've never been. I can't tell you anything more about their culture other than the 80s. I used to love Men at Work. All right? They got a couple of cool golf tournaments and a real nice opera house. My in-laws have been there and told me about it. That's it. I know this. They're the gold standard on the planet for gun control. Every socialist country on earth wants the laws they have in Australia for gun control. And that helped them in no way at all, with at least 15 dead in the worst attack on Jews since October 7th. It's obvious. This was a father and son radical Islam tag team. And the authorities have a news conference and they say, we've learned new information. We found a car and there was a flag inside the car. And we now believe there's evidence of Islamic State-inspired terror. No kidding. Seriously. I'm so sick of authorities not to... Look, it's a different world now. Tell us the truth. When it happens, tell us what's going on. If you can't do it to jeopardize the investigation, say we can't comment. But don't sit here and wait and, we think this is evidence of Islamic State-inspired terror. No kidding. Everybody knew that from the jump. You got the Father and the Son. You've identified them. Of course that's what this is about. Kill Jews. You get that part about radical Islam, right? Kill Jews, kill Christians. That's it. Radical Islam, that's the basis of it. Go kill them and take over the world and make everyone a Muslim. That's the goal. So a woman in Australia gets really upset on live television. Her dad was a Holocaust survivor and got shot in this incident. I believe he died. And they're interviewing her on the ABC. There's ABC News in Australia as well. ABC Australia. It's the same liberal outfit we got here, okay? They're interviewing her live on TV, and she turns the tables on the discussion.
And ABC, I've got to say, will you cut out the biased reporting? Mainstream media, we feel will you cut it out? Will you actually let us have a voice? Because we feel that part of the reason that the Jewish people have experienced such a massive change in Australia towards us. I mean, I'm Aussie. You know, and I'm not a religious Jewish girl, but a woman. But since October the 7th, since all the hatred that's been thrown at us, I started to wear my Magen David because I'm Jewish. And if you have something to say, you can say it to me. And ABC, please stop with the biased reporting.
Right there to their face. The reporter was standing right next to her. This is global, folks. This is the one world people, the socialists, trying to take over the world. And we've seen it. What they were doing in America under Biden was in line with what they're doing in Europe. That is, open the borders, allow Muslims and Northern Africans in illegally, let them take over, and all of a sudden we become sympathetic to their plight. I can't tell you I know their plight. There's a bunch of different countries and a bunch of people from different countries. I don't know, but I know that our own government put out a report yesterday. The Director of National Intelligence Office put out a report yesterday that 18,000 known or suspected terrorists were allowed in under the Biden administration into our country. 18,000. If I heard a story that said 18 people came in, I'd be terrified. 18,000. And Australia can't figure out why this happened. You know what would have been great? Is if somebody had a gun. And that hero that went and wrestled that rifle away from that guy, he turned and should have shot and killed him. But guess what? He lives in Australia, and he thought, my God, if I do this, they could put me to jail for life. There's stand your ground laws in America. That would have played fine here. You grab the gun from the guy and you shoot him. He was still a risk. He had a backpack on. Nobody knew the situation. But in Australia, afraid to pull the trigger. You saw it. In Australia, man, afraid to pull the trigger. That's what gun laws do? I mean, there's just no defense. There's thousands of people on this beach and in this area, and not one person was able to take out one of these killers. That's why the number was bigger. It just doesn't work, folks. And I don't know what's going on or how we're going to figure it out, where we got sympathetic with radical Islam and people want to hide it and support it and suppress it. And Jews in Australia, she said her family went to Australia because her dad was in a camp during the Holocaust, a Soviet, a Russian camp, but he was part of that. He was 80-some years old. And that's why they went to Australia, to get away from it. But now there's no guns in Australia. So where do you think the terrorists go to kill Jews? Let's go to Australia and do it. It should be really easy. Nobody's got a gun. Pathetic. When we come back, the Real Housewives, as predicted here, of Leawood, of Hallbrook, have won again. That's next on KCMO. As we've been talking about all year 2025, I'm just so happy to have coined the phrase the Real Housewives of Hallbrook, because I knew they'd be instrumental at some point, somehow, in getting their way, at least in Leawood. And they have done this. I'm going to assume it's the Real Housewives of Hallbrook that have accomplished this, but the mayor of Leawood has put out a statement with backing of the city council. This is from Mark Elkins, the mayor of Leawood, that the city of Leawood supports keeping the Royals in our region. However, they're just not for us here in Leawood. And, you know, Leawood's across the street from where they want to build a ballpark, and that's really not what Leawood's about. Leawood's about parking lots with those little tiny 6-foot stop signs. You know, the cute little ones, and riding your bicycle down the path and doing all those things. I like Leawood just fine. But we've had a constant theme on this show that it was never going to be supported across the street in Leawood. which makes this the most interesting stadium story ever. Normally when somebody announces and the Royals may move to Kansas, I've thought all along the Royals, if, at the very least, should say, we're going to Kansas. But again, they don't have to finalize that until June 30th of next year. They could always back out and still go to North Kansas City. Why not take the offer before the end of the year? Same thing with the Chiefs. Why not take the offer before the end of the year? You can always back out of it if they pass something in April in Jackson County for the Chiefs, and you decide you want that instead, you can always back out before June 30th. You just got to accept the offer by December 31st of this year. So I don't understand why both teams don't accept this offer from Kansas. Just accept it and be done with it, and now we'll figure it out. And yes, maybe they're moving toward that, and maybe not. I don't know. Everything's pointing to Overland Park. You may not like the idea. I may think that's not the best place for a ballpark. I'm softening on that, by the way. I've done a lot of driving around out there, and there's massive amounts of construction, and that is a huge piece of land. That is a much bigger parcel than I ever thought. It's going to be, if that's where the Royals build, it's going to be just fine, folks. It's going to be okay. The Royals are not going to make a colossal mistake. It's going to be okay. But the Real Housewives of Hallbrook are not going to be happy.
Isn't that land about the same size as the Truman Sports Complex?
It might be.
Yeah.
Depends on how much they own and how far it goes. You know, I drove in and through the Jewish Community Center there and the parking lot, and they don't want to move. But they don't like the idea of the ballpark being next to them because of all the traffic and stuff. I get that. But even across from there, they're building apartments, and Black and Veatch is building new headquarters over there, aren't they? And there's so much stuff being built around there. It's crazy. That new Andretti kart racing thing is in there. That thing's huge. And there just seems to be an unlimited amount of land there. So it will work. The question is about the roads. That's the big thing. But Mark Elkins in Leawood puts the statement out today and says, given the concerns raised by residents, that's code word for Real Housewives of Hallbrook, and the opposition voiced by key institutions in this area, that's the residents of Hallbrook, as well as the lack of information regarding the project, the city of Leawood cannot at this time support the location of a stadium at the Hesperia campus in Overland Park. Very predictable move by Leawood, and I'll just give you my interpretation. I don't know anything. I haven't talked to anybody. This is a dart throw for Leawood, trying to stop it. Seeing if they can snowball the opposition. Is anybody else with us to stop this thing? Because they don't want it in Leawood. They don't want any part of it. And I think this is them trying to stop it. I think they believe in Leawood this thing's done. I don't think the mayor and the council would come out and do this unless they thought it was happening. What would be the point of that? Why would a mayor of Leawood put a statement out that we don't like this idea if he didn't think it were done? I think the mayor of Leawood thinks this is over and he's trying to stop it before it's too late. And I don't. If the Royals have decided this, they've decided it. I can't say this loud enough. These teams don't care what you think. Forget the surveys. Forget all that stuff. They don't care. They don't care. 90% of the people around that area could hate this idea, and I'm sorry, the Royals don't care. They know what kind of money it is. They know what they can make. They see it. It's just sitting there. Instead of a telecom company, T-Mobile, it's a baseball team. But that's kind of what the area is. This is where all the businesses in Kansas City are moving. It's where all the big fancy houses are. It's where every CEO wants to live and have a real housewife from Hallbrook. Who doesn't aspire to that, for crying out loud? So I think it's desperation. I think this is yet another. Every week there's another one. T-Mobile says they're evicting us. Come on, what are we doing sitting here talking about where the Royals are moving? Why are we even asking the question at this point? They've evicted T-Mobile. They hold the mortgage on the property, and the mayor of Leawood says, "No, we don't accept this." No, no. There's been no official announcement. Could the Royals say it any more loudly that they're looking at one place over everyone else? And that offer has to be taken apparently in December. We've thought that all along. So we'll see if that happens. I don't know. I do know this in St. Joe. The reason you want a sports team, and I know that we can get Patrick Tuohy on, and he can make all kinds of great cases for the fact that these things are never as valuable for your community as you think they are. I would not argue that. I just won't. But I also know that if we didn't have sports in America, our economy would crash and burn. It'd toast. Sports is big for all of us. Even if you don't like sports, it's big. Or it's like saying, if you don't fly on airplanes, it doesn't matter. The industry is still large. My mom doesn't have an iPhone, but it's still a big deal that we have smartphones. It's great for the economy. All of these things are part of the engine that bring us all together and pull us all along on this wonderful experiment that's called the United States of America, which is the greatest economic vehicle in the history of civilization. And I got to just give a shout out to the folks in St. Joseph, Missouri. We know they've done a great job with the Chiefs and things like that. That seems high profile. It's the NFL. But St. Joe's been working hard. They have their own sports commission. From state football championships, this is from the News Press in St. Joe. From the state football championship to Division I women's basketball, St. Joseph solidified its reputation this December as a hub for high-profile sporting events and a major boost to the local economy. In the last 2 months in St. Joe, they played host to the Missouri State Girls Volleyball Championships, the Football State Championships, the MIAA Volleyball, and an SEC versus Big 12 basketball showdown between Ole Miss and Kansas State, to name a few. This is crazy. They got $4.7 million worth in St. Joe to the local economy over the volleyball championship a few weeks ago. 300 athletes came to town. 40 state officials and staff came to town. 8,418 tickets sold. 50% of the participants stayed at least one night in a hotel in St. Joe. Then came the football state championship. Same thing. A third of the people stayed one night or more. 19,500 people came to St. Joe and watched high school football games for $7.7 million worth of economic activity. That's high school sports and $13 million spent in St. Joe. Sports works, and it works everywhere. And St. Joe is certainly a different thing than the Royals are looking at. But I know what the Royals are looking at 119th and Knoll. It's dollar signs. It's massive dollar signs. First and foremost, no team has ever turned down 70% of their stadium being paid for. That has never, ever happened. And I have said for a year on this show, longer than that on my podcast, that if the Royals and Chiefs turn down Kansas, they will become, either of them, they will become the first team to ever turn down 70% of their stadium free. They'll be the first because it's never happened. Nobody's ever had this deal. And so that's where you start, just with the cost of the project. Now let's say the Royals want to add multi-use facilities there, restaurants, entertainment area on the west side of the complex. Maybe some condominiums, I would guess their own hotel, let the other teams come in, stay at the hotel, whatever, make money off of that, or certainly visiting fans that come to watch their team play. There's a lot of that. Why wouldn't they be in the hotel business? It's a gold mine. It's just sitting there. And this, the Star District, the area that could be drawn for the sales tax break could be enormous. You could include all kinds. If it's a Johnson County, it's the state of Kansas, you can go over into Leawood, into Town Center. And now you're taking those restaurants and all those stores over there and all that stuff. And you go in to buy something at, I'm trying to think of that name of that store that my wife really likes over there. Oh, that's terrible. I'll think of it before the show's over. I'll figure it out. But if you spend that money there, the sales tax dollar goes to the Star Bond. The Royals will be able to double dip on all of that, or the state of Kansas will, which is essentially where they want to get the money. So none of this is going to surprise me. I've thought all along Kansas has a huge advantage over Missouri, but we'll see how it plays out. We should know something before the end of the year. I've not heard anybody in Kansas say the December 31st deadline is being extended. But remember, there are two deadlines. The first is your commitment, saying you're taking it before December 31st. And then the next is the contracts all written up and drawn by June 30th of next year. And I can't think of one reason why the Royals or Chiefs can't accept this offer right now in December. And if they change their mind in March or April, put something on the ballot in Jackson County, if it passes, back out. I don't know why they couldn't do that. What would be the recourse? Some small fine in the fine print? No big deal. If you want to renovate Arrowhead and got money coming from Jackson County. But right now, neither team has an offer in Missouri. I keep saying it. There's no offer. The state's offered 50%, but that comes with a county or city kicking in another 20. And they don't have that. They don't have it. We'll see how it plays out as they go forward. You probably know by now I have a crush on Stephen Miller in the Trump administration. There's a Vanity Fair piece out today where Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, has done an interview, and she referred to Donald Trump and working for Donald Trump and everybody else in the cabinet. She's talking about them. She said Trump has an alcoholic's personality. That's going to be a big headline. You're going to hear this a lot. Okay, this has just happened in the last couple of hours. But Stephen Miller's the guy that I really like. This whole piece is about how Susie Wiles is. Yeah, have you ever noticed if you're a chief of staff to a Republican president or a vice president to a Republican president, you're the most powerful one in the history of the country. Like no Democrats ever done this, had a chief of staff this influential. No Democrats ever had a vice president like J.D. Vance. It's every single time. It used to be Dick Cheney. It doesn't matter who it is. They do this every time. You're telling me Stephen Miller is in the Oval Office every day with the president and Susie Wiles is the person with the most influence? That's not even possible. I read a piece from Garrett Seawright today at Barrett Media where he said CNN's in a current predicament. They've got a no-win situation on their hands with Stephen Miller. They can stand up the administration and say plainly, I'm not going to let you tell me what to do. That approach would be healthier for cable news and better for the country. It would also reinforce the idea that journalism doesn't exist to launder talking points for those in power. So Seawright sounds like a bit of a liberal here in the media, but CNN has basically banned Stephen Miller from their airwaves because he's too good at what he does. I have no problem with Stephen Miller going on any network, any day, any time. But Susie Wiles, what were you thinking? What was Trump thinking, letting her... They basically, Vanity Fair embedded with her. The photographs are horrible. They make her look bad. They make J.D. Vance look bad. The pictures in this thing, it's awful. You can't believe it, how they look. If you go to VanityFair.com, you'll see it. And she's made all kinds of comments about J.D. Vance basically doing a 180. He used to be a Trump hater. They write of J.D. Vance in this piece, that J.D. Vance mentioned that, Trump was America's Hitler a decade ago, and now he's the vice president with him. I mean, it is totally a hit piece. But it's the second day in a row the Trump administration has done something that's unforced. Yesterday, Trump posted about Rob Reiner something that was simply not appropriate. It's not the end-all, be-all for me. I love Trump no matter what. It's probably not going to change anybody else's mind, and that's probably what he's thinking. But I had to look this up when Susie Wiles says the president of the United States has an alcoholic's personality, because I don't know what that is. I've never thought about that and know what that is. It says you have low conscientiousness. Well, that doesn't sound like Donald Trump at all. He appears to me to be the most conscientious person I've ever seen. It says they lack self-control and discipline. And that may be the case when sending a text about Rob Reiner, but it is absolutely not the case when it comes to world peace and things of magnitude. It's not even close to the case. He has a lot of patience. How much patience has he had with Vladimir Putin over the years? He didn't really fight the Democrats in his first term. He's only learned how to fight them in this second term. I don't think he lacks self-control and discipline. I think maybe publicly he does sometimes, but I take part of that as the branding and marketing of Trump. I think he wants Putin and Xi and some of these other people to see some of the things that he does that he thinks are insignificant, like posting about Rob Reiner, and let them think he's maybe got a screw loose somewhere, because that could probably help him. Remember, she said he's got an alcoholic's personality, but he's never drank, ever. What are his addictions? Work, cheeseburgers, Diet Coke. I'll take that with my president. You're telling me my president's alcoholic's personality has led him to obsess on working all the time, eating too much junk food, and slamming caffeine through Diet Coke. I can live with that. But again, an unforced error. The comments that she made, you're going to see in this thing, they're going to make a very, very big deal of. All right, Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio. If you'd like to join the conversation, 913-408-7957. We'll check in with Mark, find out about his big birthday dinner last night, right here on KCMO. What'd you do for your birthday last night, buddy? Anything good?
Went to Joe's KC.
Oh, yeah. What'd you have?
Had a nice barbecue. We went turkey.
Turkey.
Smoked turkey.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. The fries. Love the fries there.
The fries. Do you dip in the ketchup or the barbecue sauce?
I just eat them plain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just like the seasoning. I just go straight up French fry.
I'm a ketchup guy with fries, man. My buddy Frank Bowl, he loves the barbecue sauce when it comes to fries.
My 2-year-old found out she likes barbecue sauce and ketchup together.
Oh, really?
So she was dipping into both.
That would be like barbecue sauce light
Yes.
kind of thing. More fun, your birthday or the holiday party tonight? What do you got? You get away from the kids tonight, huh?
Ah, man. I enjoyed the birthday last night. I really did. We'll see how the holiday party goes. I'll report back tomorrow.
They say the social faux pas of the holiday party is to hang out with the people you work with. You're supposed to hang out with people from other departments and stuff that you don't know very well.
So we don't sit by each other tonight?
You want to do buy or sell on that? Because I'll hang with you all night, buddy.
Yeah. I think that it's fine to sit with people you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's, people you know. I think you know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers gets insurance now, health insurance for his family now that he's back in the NFL. His 5 years of health insurance ran out or was running out. And they estimate that if you went to buy your own insurance with 10 children, which is what he has, and you didn't do it like through your company or whatever, it could be as much as $8,000 a month.
That's crazy.
For a family of 12.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a nice little perk right there with his NFL Players Association insurance.
He's fine with having his Hall of Fame time pushed back. That's totally worth it.
Do you think the Colts will win another game?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Before Phillip Rivers was their starter, I thought they might lose out.
Hey, I called him missing the playoffs before Daniel Jones got hurt.
That's true.
They're just not good enough. I was watching like, nope, look at this schedule. Didn't look good at all. What an opportunity the Chiefs have blown. I mean, the AFC is not that good, buddy. It does this every year, doesn't it?
I know.
It just falls apart at the end. Teams start losing. They look terrible.
Nobody trusts any of the AFC teams right now.
I mean, I feel like the Chiefs played giveaway twice against the Chargers.
Yep.
If they just won those two games,
they'd be in.
They'd be 8-6 right now instead of 6-8.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be ahead of the Chargers. Oh, boy.
Have to pass the Colts, yeah.
Wowza. Ooh, so disappointing when stuff like that happens. So disappointing. I don't know, man. I do think that they should look long and hard at making some changes. You mentioned defense first thing up yesterday. That surprised me a little bit.
I mean, there's quite a few things they need to do, but
Yeah.
we kind of talked about it off air. I think they need to get a receiver. If they take a receiver in the top 12, that would be pretty solid.
Go get me a guy. Yesterday in this time slot, we talked about Darren Peterson from Kansas and going out of the game injured again on Saturday. He's a big deal. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft. Bill Self said on his radio show last night that it was just cramping and not the hamstring.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, we can't get he's like, we're trying to wrap our arms around it. They don't understand the cramping. Remember, the cramping happened before the hamstring. Then the hamstring got healthy. Now the cramping is back. Does one lead to the other?
I don't know.
I know.
Maybe get this guy some Powerade or something.
Might need to get a doctor on here and find out what this is all about. KU doctors can't figure it out right now with Darren Peterson. That's it for Uncanceled Day. There's a lot of breaking news and stuff going on today. So stick around for the Vince Show. He's going to be covering all that for you. We appreciate you listening every single day and hope you have a great night.